Hey church, I just wanted to do a quick midweek lift about words of grace. Now, I hope you have already gotten into your book and started reading it. We are so excited about what this year holds as far as this project. This week, we're in Genesis 1, and I'm just going to give you a couple quick thoughts. Genesis 1 is kind of a poem. It's very poetic. I think some people want to interpret it like it is like it's a science textbook. But there is an oral history that's going on there that's passed from generations until the time of Moses when he actually wrote it down. And part of the thing that's really cool is researchers have actually gone back into cultures that have oral history, and they've determined that oral history is actually more accurate than written history. So sometimes we say, well, since it was oral, we can't trust it. But think about it. How many different history books are there on the Civil War? Because everybody wants to write down their own perspective and what their research shows and their side of the story. But when it's oral, if you come in and you start telling that oral history, somebody goes, oh, but that's not right. It's like a song. You ever been somewhere where you're singing a song and you sing a lyric you learned, in another state, and everybody looks at you like you're crazy? Because that's not the lyric that goes there. An oral history is repeated often enough that it takes a standard form and the whole community knows that form. And so oral histories are preserved from the first iteration to hundreds of years later in the final iteration in the original form. Whereas written histories are constantly revised and there's new research and other things that happen. So when we look at this oral history, this poetic tradition of the creation in Genesis, research and science shows us that we can actually trust that what was believed and taught from Adam to Seth, and from Seth down the line to Jacob, and from Jacob down the line all the way to Moses is actually more accurate than if it had been written down. And so this account of creation that we have in the Bible is very likely the exact words that were spoken by the earliest humans in regard to how God created the earth. So as you look at that and you look at the truth of that word, you look at this idea that God spoke things into existence and that God said, let there be light. And there was. But he hadn't created the sun yet because that wasn't till day 4. I go, well, where did that light come from? What was that light? Well, if you study physics and we start talking about the singularity, sometimes known as the Big Bang, it's an atomic explosion that would have let off massive light and sound. So God spoke, and the sound of his voice, which we find out in the Bible, is like rushing waters. It's this incredible sound. And let there be light, and there was sound, and there was light. That's exactly what physics believes about how the universe began. And so this incredibly accurate transmission of the word is also accurate in content. And I think we find that out more and more. But that doesn't make it a science textbook. It was written to reveal to us the character of who God is. So I hope you take those nuggets of truth about Genesis 1 this week as you read it and you say, hey, listen, there's something here that I can trust. There's something here that I can learn about the origins of our universe from. But more than that, there's the heart of God and who he is as a creator working to make a good creation. And it begins to reveal that to me so that I can understand him. Genesis 1, words of grace, read it. Discuss it with your family, journal about it, and this Sunday, we're going to talk about it some more. See you then.